Om Shri Sai Ram. Good evening and welcome to the next part of Atma Chalisa Revisited. Till now we have done previous 18 chapters, and our last chapter that we discussed yesterday was from the famous saying of Sri Shankaracharya ji, which says, Brahm Satya Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmeva Na Paraha, which is that only the Brahman, the immutable reality, which is nothing but pure consciousness, is real, and what we see as the world, what we experience as the world with our five senses, is actually nothing but an illusion created by our five senses, by our judgments, by our opinions, by our beliefs, by our comforts, by our habits, and by all that we have been told and put in our mind. And therefore we perceive everything through the lens of these five senses, and therefore we keep creating and manifesting our reality, and each one views it differently. Same situation, when viewed by five different people, they look at it from their own lenses and from their own perceptions and from their own filters. And without knowing, we actually get trapped and we keep imagining things to be real, whereas actually it is all a perception of our mind. All our anger, all our disappointments, all our happiness, everything is coming from those five senses, and therefore we create a world of our own where we blame, where we judge, where we laugh, where we are in joy, and we go through various emotions only because of what we perceive. And therefore this world created out of these five senses, Shankaracharya ji said, is a mithya, is an illusion. And he said the only reality, which is the consciousness or the Brahman, which is what pervades in all beings everywhere, is actually the same as what is inside each individual soul. That means in each one of us, the same consciousness, which Vedanta calls as Atman, is the Atman is the same as Brahman, and therefore we are no different from that all-pervading reality, and we are that one God that we are all seeking. So this is what we discussed yesterday, and we step into day 19 today, where we go back to what we discussed yesterday, that the reason for this delusion, which makes the world appear to be real, stems from ignorance, asat. And this asat is coming from that darkness, tamas. This darkness is of ignorance, and this ignorance is that I am this body and I am this name. And that personhood that we write about, the I not as the soul, but the I as the individual identity, that gets into us this whole feeling that I am the doer. Because I am the body, therefore all action performed by this body is by that same I, and so therefore we get into I am the doer, and that I am the doer creates a separation. And that separation brings in ego, and that separation brings in all the pain in our life. And as soon as this separation takes place, as soon as we start separating ourselves from the other person, as soon as we receive them from our own filters, as soon as we start judging it, as soon as a little bit of ego is left in us, we start reacting. And we get into this phase where we start feeling angry, we start feeling jittery, we start feeling vulnerable, we start feeling angst, we start feeling hurt. All these feelings come from the ego in us. And where is this ego getting born? The ego is born when I see myself as a separate entity, I the body, and therefore I am the doer. And this doership is the reason behind this entire cycle that we go through again and again. This birth, death is stemming from this mistaken notion, this mistaken idea, this mistaken understanding that I am the body and therefore I am the doer. All separation from the whole, from the universal consciousness. When we say Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamadashyate, this Purna, this complete whole of which I am a part, therefore I represent all that is available in the whole. That comes in only when we feel that we are in oneness. But when we separate ourselves and we start to form an identity of our own, and when we start to get into that I am the doer and I am the accomplisher, and all the accomplishments and all the progress and all the failures are to do with me, is when the various emotions start coming and hitting us. And when these emotions come, they become our filters. And through these filters, then we start to see the view. And therefore, suddenly, from joy, we go into pain. And then we start to, experience different, we go further and further deeper. The more then you think you are the victim, the more you think you are vulnerable, the more you think you are separate, the more you start to create space, and the more you create gaps and chasms between your own self and your higher self, or your own self and the all-pervading consciousness, from your own self and your higher reality, which is constantly trying to guide you to remove this veil of illusion. Because as long as we keep wearing this veil, as long as we keep hiding behind it, there is going to be pain. And the role of a master is actually to make sure that every mask, every veil, the master will keep pricking you, will keep pushing you till you stop reacting. Because the reaction comes from the ego. All reactions come from the ego, and that comes from either poor self-esteem or comes from blame or judgment, whatever may be the underlying cause. The real root cause behind it is the ego, is this separation. And unless this separation exists, that merger is not complete. That oneness is not complete. It may be a physical merger with an entity, but it will never be the merger with the absolute. Because for the absolute, there has to be just complete surrender and alignment. There cannot be any highs and lows. There cannot be peaks and troughs. It has to be one constancy. And to reach there, if there is any still reaction left, it's like, when you see a snake, what does a snake charmer do? The snake charmer is always trying to excite the snake so that what does it do? It tries to release its poison. Until the entire poison is out, the snake charmer keeps doing that. And that's exactly the role of the guru. It will keep provoking, it will keep pushing you into uncomfortable areas. And the more you resist, the more you fight, the more you think, I don't want to do this, the more you think you go into this guilt trip. Oh, I am doing so well. I am trying my best, right? And yet, the Guru is so hard on us. As long as we get into this complex, we will start creating a world of sorrow around us and we will react. But if you understand what is happening, is that you are being defanged. These emotions out of you are being taken out. And when we start understanding this game, and when we become one with it, all reactions stop when we lose this idea or notion that I am the doer. And when we realize that there is only one doer, and everything is willed by this consciousness, and everything happens to the tune of this consciousness, and when we surrender to the idea, and when we become one with this idea, at that point of time, all reactions cease, all anger disappears, and everything seems like a great game of one consciousness. So, when we understand that there is nothing else other than the self exists, the universal self, and not the limited self, and that everything is being played out by this consciousness only to ensure that all individuality is finally exhausted out of us and is taken away from us till we are completely unmasked and delayered. This merger with this absolute, or that liberation, shall not take place. And so it is a very necessary understanding that we must have. And every time we get tempted and we get caught into that trap, we must understand that behind it, the ego, propelled by the mind, propelled by this separation, propelled by this ignorance, is what is causing it, and we can freeze it there. We can stop. And this will keep happening till one day we understand this game and we laugh at it. Because, as I said, there is just no other, and that other is just showing us a mirror of what we are not trying to see will always be shown to us. I said yesterday that whatever we run away from life, those experiences come to haunt back at us. What we don't want to see will be shown to us, because we have to see every aspect of it. We cannot be in denial. And when we start seeing everything as actually a 360-degree view of us and us alone, then this whole struggle finishes and acceptance starts, and this release takes place. So then we move to day 20, where we talked about that awareness is the key. So what we have been speaking about, this whole idea of the self as experienced by Maharishi Ramana, the same self which, if we hold on to this consciousness, which is the Atman, takes us out of this illusion of this world. That awareness, if we hold on to, which is called in Vedanta Chitta, Sat Chit Ananda. Sat is that truth, that I am that immutable reality. I am that unlimited consciousness. I am not the limited consciousness, is the Sat, is the truth, is the real. Chit is the awareness of this truth. Remaining aware at all times that I am that which is within this body, which is above and beyond the mind, that which is witness to all that is happening in the mind, that which is witnessing all the urgings and promptings that are screaming to us because of what's happening around us. The awareness of that, the ability to discriminate between the permanent and the impermanent, the transitory, which is just coming and, clouding our mind and shouting and screaming within us, to which we are reacting. That impermanent, that transient, when we are able to be aware of it, we will not get impacted by any of this. If you allow something to control you, it will control you, it will manipulate you, and it will hold you. But when you see the game, when you see that a shadow, instead of being scared of a shadow, you know that a shadow is nothing but the presence of a light. And the presence of the light is creating a shadow behind you. So instead of getting scared of the darkness of the shadow, if you focus on the light, the real light of the self, the shadow just disappears. So this light is our awareness. And when you hold on to this awareness, then what results is an experience of bliss. And when you don't hold on to this awareness, we experience various emotions. And so the trick is to try and slowly improve our awareness so that we are able to hold on to this reality of ours for longer periods of time, and we can start experiencing this bliss for a longer period of time. Remember, when you get into any reaction, at that point of time, remind yourself, put a reminder on your electronic watches that I am reacting means I have lost awareness of who I truly am. That itself should be enough for you to stop and freeze in your tracks, instead of making matters worse by reacting. Just instantly remind yourself, reaction means I am now into the body-mind duo. I have been caught, I have become a prisoner, I have lost my awareness. My awareness has slipped. Therefore, I am reacting. Because anyone who understands, who is aware of their reality, will never react. So stop yourself. This is how you have to mind yourself. And this awareness comes during meditations. Why are we doing meditation? Why are we saying that meditation is so essential? Because when we meditate, when we become silent, we are able to see things that we are not able to see when we are talking, or when we are reacting, or when we are doing things. So this awareness gets expanded when we are in silence, when we are in meditation, when we go inwards. That's why this sadhana is essential. It just helps us to make this connection to our real self. And as we keep making this connection, and as we keep enjoying this experience that comes with this connection, we'll start yearning for this experience. And we know that what comes in the way, what spoils a party, is the doership, or the mind, or the ego. So whenever some party pooper, party spoiler comes in, know for a fact that the devil behind this party pooper, the one who's come as a great gate crasher to this experience of bliss, is your ego, is your mind, is this whole idea of doership. And you can check yourself instantly. And as you constantly keep checking yourself, And as you keep putting the light of awareness on it, one day it'll just go away. Because you'd be constantly be able to see who you truly are. And you will win this game. And that's what Atma Chalisa is attempting to do, to help all of you to win this game of limited consciousness and play the game of expanded state of awareness. And then we move on to the next day, where we spoke about on day 21, which is accepting death. We always have a fear in us. We are fearful of situations, we are fearful of darkness, we are fearful of the visions we have, we are fearful sometimes of dreams, scary dreams that we see. We are fearful of doing certain things. We are fearful to start doing things, because we feel it's too much for us, whether we'll be able to do or not, and we get paralyzed by fear. All the fears that you experience, remember there is one root cause. Because we are on this journey of finding out what is it that stops us, what is it that comes in the way. And the root cause, the fear of all fears, the mother of all fears, is the fear of death. As long as this fear of death haunts us, as long as we are apprehensive and anxious about that moment when death comes, this will not allow you to be in peace. It will not allow you to surrender. It will always keep you in the mode of doership. And there will always be situations and events that will make you fearful. Because we have not overcome death. And the only way to overcome death is to really understand what death is, to whom the death comes, and what dies. The death is to the body. Death is an eventuality to the body. All that is born must die. It must die at a time which is uncertain, unknown. It can happen any moment, because all that was created has to finally merge. We all are witness to the cycle of creation, sustenance, and dissolution. So all that comes into life sustains itself for a period of time, and then that form, whether in the animal kingdom or the plant kingdom or the human kingdom, has to ultimately dissolve, has to go. So if this is the truth, it is the nature of all life in this planet, then this body has to go. But when this body dies, do we die, or just the body dies? And if this body is just a vehicle of something, as we discussed yesterday, which is permanent, which is always present, then we are no longer fearful of death. Because death cannot ever harm us, burn us, drown us, stain us, or extinguish us. It can only extinguish the body. And once this understanding, and therefore we must spend time in resolving this. And if we are able to accept death, and I have advised many people, and I have done this in my life, that the day I understood this, I actually offered myself into the fire, and I saw actually my body being burnt, and I did my last rites my own self. I've offered myself into the Trikuti also. I have envisioned a big fire in which I saw this body covered with white sheets, and I saw it burning, and I saw my body actually getting burned, and I was actually chanting the Gayatri Mantra, and I let go of my body. And it is the biggest relief that you can find is to actually do your own Deha Sanskara. That is the last ritual of letting your body go. And therefore, then you do not clutch onto your body. You are not upset with small little things that happen to your body. And we can reach that state of consciousness where we can live like all the great yogis and maharishis who did not pay any attention to their body because they knew the truth. They were always living in this truth. And when you live in this kind of a truth, you are actually freed from the mother of all fears, which is what makes us fearful. We are fearful in the dark because we feel something might happen to us. What is that something that might happen to us? We might get hurt or we might die. We are fearful of losing our loved ones. We are fearful of losing our wealth. We are fearful of losing our status, our position, our name and fame. We are fearful of doing something which we think is too big for us to do. We are always living in fear because we see ourselves as a limited identity of this name and body, which is not capable or which has its limitations of performing certain actions and of achieving certain things. But the minute you start associating yourself with that unlimited consciousness, which is the creator of all that exists, you suddenly find possibilities of all of creation inside of you. It depends upon from where you are operating. Are you operating from the limited, the fearful, or are you operating from the unlimited or the infinite, the creative life force? And therefore, actually have the powers of all of creation within you. It's a choice, and that choice you can exercise only when you have the right understanding. And this ignorance, it's all, if you see, all that we are discussing is actually interrelated. I've made them into different topics only so that we can understand it. But we are creating and we are moving in one single thread of understanding being looked at from all facets. So I would really encourage all of you, if you have not done it before, even if you have done it before, please do it again. It's a most beautiful thing. Offer yourself into the fire and consume yourself and see your body burn. And chant all the mantras. Don't leave it to your relatives, to your children, and to whoever else is going to be there. Do this beautiful ceremony yourself and liberate yourself from this lurking fear all the time of death. So, as one of the gurus in the Sikhism said, "Pehle maran kabool kar, fir kar jeen diyas." That before you even start thinking of living, and you have expectations, any expectations after life, first accept death. And those who are able to accept death and embrace death, they are the real ones who can live life because they become fearless. They are able to go and in life do all that they have to do. But as long as this, this fear of death is like a dead snake in your around your neck. It's always hanging. It's always there. You always feel that this, snake will become alive and it might just bite you. So I would say the sooner you release this, the earlier you can experience that ananda. Then we move into day 22. So once we have resolved this, once we've understood all these basic laws that govern us, and we understand this consciousness principle, and this consciousness principle that is ever present within us and all around us as well, then we can truly, and we have accepted death and we've released death, then we are free from everything. We are free from this baggage of accomplishments. We are free from this baggage of judgments and opinions. We are free from all beliefs that have kind of conditioned us badly. And when we come to that state, we truly can start living in the present moment, because actually, other than this present moment, there is nothing else that exists. What happened to us 6 hours from now, or 2 hours from now, or even 15 minutes from now is gone. It is past. It doesn't exist any longer. Why is it past? Or why do we even focus on it? Is because we hold on to it. We keep reminding ourselves. Because we remind ourselves is why we hold on to it. We hold on to it because it suits us, because we have either something to be happy about, that's why we remember it, or something that makes us sad. And we never let go. We keep remembering what a person did to me, and we keep remembering how many times it has happened, and we keep feeling miserable inside us. And we keep holding on to the past. Past is like a dead weight. Past is like a donkey carrying its weight all the time, holding this load. And this past anxieties of the unpleasantness of the past creates anxieties for the future. But neither past exists nor future exists. The only reality is in this moment. And this is the present moment. And we are present here. Everybody right now is present, listening to this conversation. And if we can bring in all our awareness to what is happening, we neither need to take notes, nor do we need to remember anything. Because all that is being spoken is going in completely, because we are in that alignment. We are not listening from the mind. We are not listening from the body to do body mind duo. We are not listening as a doer. We are all listening from the higher space. We are listening from the higher consciousness. And this consciousness is getting completely aligned to this truth, because it knows this is the truth. And if at this point of time we are in this alignment, we are in complete awareness. And this is that awareness that I spoke about. This is the awareness of the consciousness. If we can start living life in the present moment all the time, then that means we are operating out of consciousness and not as the limited identity. If we can start performing our actions in this awareness of the present moment, then you will see perfection will creep in. You will see that you are always in a balanced state. You will neither have to remember anything, nor you will ever be thinking about what's happening in the future. Because future comes to us only in the present moment. And life becomes a beautiful flow of events. Because everything is in the present. And when you are present in the present presents to you a beautiful present, a gift, the gift of liberation, the gift of breaking all this that holds you back, a gift of breaking this trap of limitedness, a gift of finally being that expanded awareness, that expanded consciousness, who we have been from inception. But because of this limited identification, we have boxed ourselves from this huge unlimited self, the creator of the creation. We have made ourselves as this tiny small little creature who is afraid, who's scared, who's angry, who's happy, who's jealous, who's lustful, who has all these feelings. There were never any of these things. They all came in when we started to withdraw from the whole, when we started to get disconnected. And if we attack it at the root, that which is illusory just goes away and you wonder where did it disappear. So hold on to the awareness, and by holding on to the awareness, the simplest trick is be in the present moment without carrying the baggage of what happened yesterday or what happened 10 minutes back also. You had a great meal, wash your hands and your face and move on. That meal is behind us. We should have the ability to move on in that instant to the next thing. And in that next thing, when you are eating your food, you are in complete awareness. When you are making your food, cooking your food, you are in complete awareness. And next minute, when you are washing your dishes, you are in complete awareness. When you are having satsanga, you are in complete awareness. It is just this present moment. And as we move into these series of present moments, and with full alertness and awareness, we break this whole hold of ego, mind, everything. And everything starts to just flow like this beautiful flow. Experience it. And the joy that it brings, the equanimity that it brings, the freedom it brings is what we are all seeking. It's there. It's only we have somewhere put walls around us. We are suffering only because of our lack of awareness and our lack of alertness, and if I may say, because of our stupidity. And the only way to remove the stupidity is to become aware, is to get the right understanding. And then we start experiencing, when we remain in the present moment, there is something that comes to us. There is some knowledge that comes to us all the time. There is some understanding that is provided to us when we are in full awareness of the present moment. In that moment, you just know what you need to do. You are provided with that flashes of intuition that come to you seamlessly. And you know what needs to be done, what needs to be said, what is happening. And the source of that knowledge is we call as the inner guru, or the Guru Deva. The Guru is the one who provides light so that the darkness in our life can be removed. What is this darkness? This wrong understanding. What is this light? It is the knowledge. Who is a Deva? Deva is a divine being. Divine being who's effulgent in light. This luminescent being which provides us all this knowledge, all this wisdom at all points of time, which is not outside of us, which communicates to us at first at intuition, is called Guru Deva, or the inner Guru, and it is the same Guru who was external at some point of time, becomes a part of us and starts to communicate to us from within. The external guru becomes silent and the inner guru takes over. And you have to trust in it. A lot of times we say, I thought about this. Oh, I just got that thought. But I never did anything about it. We don't act on what we are being prompted. The inner guru is always wanting to tell us if we are connected. But what do? We just don't act on it. And therefore, we do not develop the faculty of developing a constant communication with the inner guru, with the Gurudeva. Because we do not believe in what we are being prompted. We are not sure. We are so heavy about life that we will not listen to what is coming from within. We ignore those promptings, and because we feel safe in the externality, we feel safe that when somebody tells us something, we can put the trust and blame also onto that person, because if something goes wrong, we can catch hold of somebody. If something goes right, we can credit ourselves. But when we start listening to ourselves, we have to take the responsibility that we are and we alone are responsible for all that is going to happen, either good or bad. There is no escape. When we are ready to do that, things start happening for us. As long as we are putting it on somebody else, remember that sticky board I talked about, the board on which we pin all these things? As long as there is someone to be blamed and someone to be made accountable, we'll never be able to take responsibility of our inner experiences in our life. I keep hearing from a lot of you, we are trying, it's very difficult, it sounds very easy, it doesn't happen really. The only reason why things don't happen to us is because we do not want them to happen. Because what we really want that should happen in our lives, we actually go ahead and do it. And why we are not doing it is because we are not convinced about it. There is still a fraction of doubt. Or sometimes we just don't want it. We like our pain, we like our sorrow, we like to hide behind, our comforts. We like to hide behind our habits. And we actually don't want it. We keep saying we want it. But if we really want it, then there should be nothing in the way. We should be able to let go of everything that is coming on the path. For a determined person, try to take, the bone away from a dog who's really got it firmly in the grip, who's chewing on this bone. Try and take that bone out. Pull as hard as you can. The jaws of the dog, the teeth will come out, but he will not let the bone go. But are we like that? We in a minute, we let go. Because somewhere there is something that we don't find comfortable. There is something in us which makes us, hide behind some of our things. Or we simply say, I don't know. I do not understand this. We don't understand because we are not trying to understand. We are such intelligent beings. We understand everything actually. We do not want it. And we use all these things to hide behind them. We create them as a facade. And as I said, on this path, if you are determined, then there is nowhere to hide. There is nowhere to run. There is nowhere that this light will not reach us. Even if now you want to get out of this path, this light will not let you go. It will hound you, it will track you, and it will, bring you out. One-way street. Once you enter, you remember that movie? When I was growing up, we saw this movie of Bruce Lee called Enter the Dragon. So once you enter the dragon, you have only one choice to come out of the dragon. And Baba used to say this, he used to say, face the devil, finish the game, yeah, and overcome the challenge. So, who is this devil? Is our mind. What game are you playing? The game of your life, of letting go of this limited individual identity and getting free and liberated from your own self and from your own man-made, mind-created, society-created experience of your limitedness. We have so beautifully told us, we have put hundreds and thousands of limitations on us. I can't do this, I can't do this. I don't know this, I don't know this. This is not possible, that is not happening. Somebody today used a word with me. Normally, I would do this. I said, what is normal? There's nothing normal. The problem is this word normal. Life is here and now in this moment. It is bringing so many possibilities, and we are sticking to normalcy. What is normal about life? Life has to be an adventure. It is beautiful. It is joyful to explore. But we want to be normal. This lack of adventure, this lack of exploration, this lack of going and doing new things is what is the fear we have. We want safety, security. And therefore, we are not able to break this invisible cage that we are in, created only by our this. We are just caught up by these so many things in our head. Somebody told me in this, today that, oh, good, the mind is here now. I said, no, not that mind. I don't want that mind back. I want the higher mind to come. That lower mind is the cause of all our pain. That mind has to go. Then only the supra mind, as Aurobindo talked about, the supramental man, that comes alive. Only when the limited ego, the limited mind disappears. It has to be crushed like the devil. Devi Ma putting her spear on the heart of this demon. This demon is your mind. It has to be crushed. The foot has to be on the chest of this devil. And it has to be eliminated once and for all. So this essentially is the understanding that we have to hold. I would request all of you to make sure, if you are not already doing all the chapters on a day-to-day basis, I would have taken up the next topic, but because the topic after that is connected to it, so I'd rather take the next topic tomorrow so that both the topics come together because they are interrelated. If you see, everything that we are speaking is interrelated. As soon as the foundation is made, as soon as the commitment is there, as soon as the yearning is there, we are actually bringing in the laws, and you see every law is connected to the other. Actually, we are saying the same thing. I'm just trying to show you how everything is just that manifestation of that one consciousness. It appears differently. It's like Jagat. In Jagat, in the world, we see so many different people. We see so many different things, so many different beings. We actually see, different beings from different dimensions also. But what is it? They're all part of that one consciousness. And as long as we keep seeing them as separate, yes, separate forms, of course they are, but they are not separate from us. And as soon as we are able to see separate forms, but one consciousness, then the game is over. That's when we party. That's when we celebrate and we said, yay, we've done what we came here to do. And now, having seen this illusion and having suffered so much from this illusion, now I'm going to help others so that they don't need to suffer as I have suffered. But those who have chosen to suffer, not even God can help them. But those who have taken on to this path of light, they will all be assisted. The, the Guru, in the form of consciousness, in different forms will appear and will guide you to where you need to be. You will taken home. The Guru has come only to take us all home. And we need to trust the process, trust ourselves, trust the Guru, and start experiencing firsthand the power of this unlimited, infinite, pure love. In gratitude to this universal Guru, to the consciousness, to this light of pure love, I hope each one of you is experiencing this light in your heart. I thank all of you and the God within you. Samast Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samast Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samast Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings in all dimensions, in all worlds, may they be happy, peaceful, healthy. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.